Gaze upon the Battlefield 6 Season 2 roadmap and witness its mediocrity. Notice its cramped images, its boxes of varying sizes, and its text that's too small to read without loading the image in a new tab. What we have here is everything wrong with the multiplayer FPS. The many botched roadmap, delivered every 3 months without fail, is the death of surprise, a scoreboard for the terminally online, a symbol of a game dev environment that sees players as clients who expect results. Our relationship with the biggest shooters around have contorted from player to investor. We track Steam concurrents like their share prices, dogpile games that threaten to disrupt the ones we already like, and spend all day on social media playing armchair analyst about what developers should have done differently to be successful. We're like Wall Street, but even less real. Fueling that behavior is the quarterly roadmap, the investor report that dictates whether a game will be so bad or dying for the next 3 months. To what degree is it healthy to care about a game's popularity status? If you can still play it without a problem, if it's still being supported, does anything else really matter? It's live service brain rot, and it sucks so hard. It's no wonder that developers are now more interested in the appearance of always having new stuff than what that stuff actually is. Battlefield 6, much like Call of Duty, which is much like Apex Legends, which is much like Fortnite, which is much like everything, just got so much new stuff. Can't you just tell by the 22 boxes? It's a new era of Battlefield. Not really, right? I count 5, maybe 6 boxes on that roadmap that represent significant, lasting additions to Battlefield 6. You get 2 new maps. Cool, that's great. Though one of those is a close quarters map, which is the opposite of what BF6 is lacking. You get a recon gadget that lets you zap rockets out of the air. Neat. Sounds useful and unique. The return of the Little Bird Chopper, always a crowd pleaser, a third helicopter type, is appreciated. And there's a dirt bike, which sounds fun, but it's probably not a game changer. But those 5 guns, they're more of the same featureless gray boxes that Battlefield 6 is already loaded with. I asked DICE the other week what makes these weapons special editions that people should be excited about, and they told me that they're pretty good in close quarters, I guess? Okay. And those new modes. They're limited time events that rely on FOMO as a means to get people back in the door. You know what would be better? New modes that don't disappear for no good reason. You know, it's worth asking, does Battlefield 6 even benefit from more modes? In my experience, most people are perfectly happy with Conquest and Breakthrough. They just want more maps to enjoy them on. Does Battlefield 6 need more guns? I'd argue it needs more gadgets or attachments that meaningfully transform the guns we already have. Battlefield 6 is falling into the same boring habits as Call of Duty. It's pumping itself full of guns that nobody cares about, maps nobody remembers, and modes that are adopted and dropped on a weekly basis. It is so much work, so much talent expended on filler. But that is the law of the roadmap. The modern live service is not concerned with what the game needs. The roadmap is about volume, payloads of content that must expand in all directions and must do so quickly. That directive is a proven recipe for mediocrity. But you can't run a proper live service if you aren't creating more maps, vehicles, guns, gadgets, events, and battle passes all at the same time. Except that you totally can. You don't even have to go back that far to remember when developers, or even just Battlefield specifically, were more targeted with updates. Between 2011 and 2012, DICE made 5 major expansions for Battlefield 3. You know, we're talking about the days of paid DLC for multiplayer shooters here, so it was a bit different than what we have now, but it's interesting how DICE rolled these out. The first one came out less than 3 months after launch. Then the next one took a whole 6 months, followed by 3 more roughly every 3 months after. It was sort of like the seasons we have now, except the game wasn't trying so hard to string you along. It wasn't slowly doling out morsels of maps and modes and guns in little chunks like every game does now. You get at least 4 maps, usually new vehicles for those maps that fit a theme, and sometimes guns. A new expansion was a moment, a true occasion to jump back in and enjoy some matches after taking a break. Then you'd have your fun and probably go take another break. I know some people prefer to totally no life their favorite games, and I get that, but walking away and doing other stuff for a while is like a provably healthy way to enjoy our hobbies. There is no such thing as a bottomless well. Everything dries up eventually if you don't give it time to replenish. The seasonal roadmap, its schedule, its true purpose, is to obfuscate that reality. The roadmap has no patience for breaks. It does not allow for replenishment. It does not want to quench your thirst. It wants you begging for water all the time. Then there's the element of surprise. DICE was already selling premium subscriptions and laying out what its DLC would roughly entail by the Battlefield 3 days. But there are still modern examples of games that are still able to keep us interested and invested without setting an exact schedule or just showing all of its cards months ahead of time. Warframe, World of Warcraft, even Destiny 2 will take long breaks for major updates and then reappear with expansions that become major moments. It's actually those exact qualities that people love about Helldivers 2, the shooter that's doing live service better than anything else right now by keeping players in the dark. There is no roadmap, nothing in particular to look forward to. It's awesome. Notice how the ongoing conversation around Helldivers 2 is surprisingly normal? Players come, players go, and the internet doesn't get so serious about it when the game drops out of the top 20 most played on Steam. That's because Arrowhead doesn't operate as if Helldivers 2 has to be the biggest thing in the world. You can't get invested in what's coming or even set unrealistic expectations, because the only thing players know with certainty is that Arrowhead is cooking up something. Tanks can appear overnight. Terrifying new weapons can show up in a $10 DLC pack or for free or hidden on a new planet. Planets can blow up. There might be a roguelike mode someday. Who knows? Who cares? Helldivers 2 doesn't treat its players like investors that it's desperate to prove its worth to. It has an honest-to-God audience, and that audience doesn't want spoilers. The roadmap saps the magic out of the amazing potential that video games have specifically to expand and surprise over time. It sets us up for our own disappointment, and it pushes developers to overpromise and underdeliver. And the worst part is that it's making people weird. I'm tired of this environment where announcements about the games I play feel like quarterly investor reports, and where the fans of those games end up sounding like financial bros rather than people who are having fun. It's a terrible setup, and it simply doesn't have to be this way. Hey, thanks for watching. This is adapted from my FPS column, FOV90, which you can read on PC Gamer every other week. That's PCGamer.com. It's a cool website, you should read it. But if you want to watch more PC Gamer, you'll want to subscribe.